Welcome back, everybody. Continuing on with our Chalk and Talk on linear graphs, we're going to talk now about how can you draw the graph if you're given the equation. So let's just think back to last video lesson. We were talking about the equation of the line, y equals mx plus c. That number m, the number in front of the x, that's called the gradient. So looking at this equation here in blue, what's the number in front of the x? 0.5. So think back to what we did maybe in year 10 and year 9. What did we define that gradient to be? We said it's rise over run. How much it goes up, that's the rise, and how much does it go across, that's the run. So if our gradient is 0.5, we want to make that into a fraction. And as you remember, changing a number into a fraction is as simple as putting it over 1. So the gradient of this equation is 0.5 over 1. And the 5, that number, that constant term with no letter, that is our y-intercept. And obviously, there's the y-intercept, that's going to be 5. So here's the important information we take from the equation when the y is all by itself. Gradient m is 0.5 over 1, and the y-intercept is 5. So what I did was, I used GeoGebra, and I would encourage you, it's a free download, geogebra.org, and I got to my grid. Here we have along the bottom, we have our x-axis, and vertically we have our y-axis. So the first thing I'll do when I want to graph this line, we're going to first thing we want to do is we are going to want to mark off our y-intercept. Now that's going to be, if you look right here, this is 0, 0. That is where the x-axis and the y-axis meet. Well, that y-intercept, that constant term c, in this case 5, is going to be directly up from the origin 0, 0. So counting up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, I put my dot right there at 5, which is my y-intercept. Now the next thing to do, you've only got one more step before you can draw the line. And that's going to come from the gradient m. From that dot, you will count off or mark off the rise over the run. Well, 0.5, which is 1/2, I go up 1/2 of a full unit and go over 1 full unit. And look where that brings me. If you want to do that a few more times, it's a good idea just so you can see that you've got plenty of lines, or plenty of dots rather, to draw your straight line. I go up 1/2 over 1. Up 1/2 over 1. Every time I go up 1/2 and over 1, I'm back on that line. So there's a little Chalk and Talk on how you can draw the graph given the equation. Please let me know if there are any questions.